What's up?
Aren't you doing it for the likes?
Nah, I ain't doing it for the likes.
Oh, okay. Hold up. So you doing it for the pussy?
Nah, I mean, yeah, no, I ain't doing it for that.
Okay, then. What are you doing it for?
Man, I do it for the culture.
The culture?
Tossing the hair, getting ready,
You know.
getting in your Beyonce mode. And we going. This is episode. What number are we on? Shit. It's been a minute. Whatever. It's for the culture podcast, man. It's your boy Nick Alexander. We back. I took a couple weeks off, but you guys didn't notice because the smart businessman that I am, I recorded multiple episodes so that I can drop and it could feel like nothing had, we hadn't lost time. So, but I was actually in New York for the past couple weeks, doing some shows, seeing some families, and meeting my girl's parents. Taking big steps in relationships, adulting. Even I'm possible and capable of adulting, guys. So. It is what it is. But I have a special guest for you guys today. Sitting beside me to my right is a doctor, a model, a wonderful human being all around. And I just want to, give you a big shout out. Summer Wayans, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Oh, and let me also add, this is also my girlfriend. So I had the baby on the podcast, had to show her some love. Thank you for doing the podcast with me, girl.
Of course. I'm probably going to be the most interesting guest you've had in a while, right?
We'll see. We've had some interesting guests. We've had some weirdos. I don't know if you can top. Who you put in the top 3 weird guests, Paul?
Weird guests?
Yeah. Or interesting, not weird. Let's go interesting.
I don't know, man. I liked Edgar a lot. That's the homie.
Edgar Rivera's was interesting. Yeah, Edgar. He kept clowning me because I kept trying to make plans with him to go to the movies. Because he's from New York, so we used to, I knew him in the New York circuit,
okay.
And then he's out here, and I'm like, I don't see you anymore, man. Let's make time to hang out. Let's go to the movies.
Suspect right there. But I don't know. Is that a challenge though to be the most interesting?
I want you to be you. You know what I'm saying? But you set the bar for you to be interesting, so you got to live up to that.
I was just kidding.
No. I know you meant that shit. So. I wanted to have you on, not because I'm trying to, give my baby a platform to talk. I'm sorry, let's stop calling you baby. Give you a platform to talk. I'm very interested in what you contribute to the culture, the minorities, the ethnic, people of ethnic and diverse backgrounds, because that's where your work life focuses on, right?
Yeah.
So you're a doctor, and for the listeners, tell them what you do.
So I am a doctor of psychology. I have a PhD in clinical psychology with an emphasis in multicultural communities.
My baby's smart.
I love saying that. It's such a mouthful, but
it's good.
My focus is on diversity. Essentially what I do is I've learned how to connect with people from all different kinds of walks of life and to be able to better understand the different challenges that are faced by people in different communities.
Nice. And how long were you in school? Because I know that there was a couple of degrees you got. So how many years are we talking to get to be able to call yourself a doctor with a PhD and all that good stuff?
Wow. It just made me sweat a little bit.
Sorry.
I
some water.
Was in school it took me almost 5 years to get my bachelor's because I had to stop for a year and then go back when I could afford it.
Okay. Very expensive, y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I took a break between going to grad school and my bachelor's for a year. Not on purpose.
Was it a fun break? Like you just needed to have some fun, live some life a little bit, kind of just...
No, I wish. I only applied to one grad school. The school I was already at.
What school did you go to?
Cal State LA.
Okay.
And then I didn't get in. And I was like, wait, and then I found out they actually take less people that go to the school than they do outside people. So anyways, I was forced to take a year off. I don't remember what I did during that year, probably work. And then I applied for grad school, ended up getting into a program where I could get my master's on the way to my doctorate. And so I did that. And it was grind time for sure, but I finished.
Man, so How many classes are we talking that you're taking at one point, like in a semester?
I mean, some semesters you're taking like 5, classes.
Wow.
You take them on opposite days. Some days you're there, the whole day. In grad school, they tell you they're like, you're not going to be able to manage work and school. I had to. I didn't have the luxury. You know what I'm saying? I always laugh and tell people yo, my family got money, but I ain't got money. You know what I'm saying? I don't come, so, yeah, I had to work. I had to.
Okay. Yo, Paul, how much school did you do?
I did 5 years to get my bachelor's.
You got your bachelor's? What school you went to?
High five.
High five,
Team 5 year.
Almost degree, community college. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for remedial and regular math, I would have an associate's, but fuck math. So, but I did, I did well in everything else though. I went to school for about 3 years. Yeah, I was in the theater. At first, I started liberal arts because that's the best degree when you don't know what you want to do with your future. You do liberal arts until you figure it out. And then after my first year, I was already doing stand-up. So then I was like, okay, I know stand-up as what I want to do. So theater would be the thing to major in because then I take more acting stuff and learn about how to work in as a professional. So I took theater and acting and stage and all that stuff like that. And that was fun, actually. Besides math, every other class was super easy to get through. I struggled with some of the science stuff. I think I had to take a camera or whatever, but yeah, math and science were never my things. What were you more like? I was geography or English or
English for sure. I can sit down and write an essay in 2 seconds. And
vocabulary quizzes on Fridays.
I was
you
on
have vocab quiz on Fridays, Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're those words from the book, and then you had to know that. Yeah.
And then artsy stuff, of course, because that's
artsy.
I love that kind of stuff. So
you could draw? Can you paint?
It depends on who you ask, but I mean, art is all about expression. So in that case, yes, I'm awesome.
I try to do a dot and say, let me expressing. My teacher didn't take that. So I was just like, well, then I guess you just don't want to see my art in its purest form. She was like, nigga, you can't write a dot.
Nah, that ain't gonna cut it in my
call
class
it art. I was like, ain't this abstract? Are you
you
ignoring
throw some lines
my attempts at abstract? I'm horrible. You know, I mean, so me and Summer, we've been together for a couple months, and she sees my ways in certain things and can understand why I'm definitely not the art guy in terms of cutting stuff and crafts. Crafts is not my thing. So I can tell jokes, I can be funny and engaging and charming and work a room, but nothing when it comes to putting my pen or whatever on paper, it doesn't manifest the same way. I'm not sure why.
It's okay, baby, because I'm not doing stand-up.
Okay, cool.
So, I have my strengths, you have yours.
That's right. And it works off each other. So let's fast forward to how did modeling come into fruition? So, because I don't meet most models who are also a doctor.
Right.
And not to say that models aren't incapable of doing those things. I mean, because you can make good money in modeling, you can use it to fund school or whatever like that. But that's not how it started for you. You weren't like a teen model that was making a bunch of money in campaigns and then decided, okay, I want to take this money and go to school.
Yeah, it's funny because it happened on accident.
Okay.
I was online one day and I saw a casting call for models of all sizes. And I was like, yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They don't do that. So I was like, man, I'm going to submit. I got these little pictures, because, that was right before selfies. So you still, set the camera and ran. So I submitted and then I actually got I booked the show. And I was like, well, now what? So I showed up and it was all this chaos and stuff. They put me in a freaking one-piece bathing suit, which I was like, yo, of all things, these thighs is going to be out? Man, because I'm not feeling good about this. But when I hit that runway, I tell you, something happened. And I just I wanted to keep doing it. The feeling I got was so empowering. And
so do you feel adrenaline just from walking down a runway with clothes?
Absolutely.
Really?
It's such a rush because, for me, it's not just about going out there and wearing somebody's designs, which is awesome to be able to do because, some of these pieces, you'd be like, can I take this home? But, all eyes are on you for that moment. The way that you move in the gown, you know what I'm saying? The poise that you have on the stage, it's a rush. And then to know also that people are looking up to you and people are saying, dang, if she can do that, maybe I can do that too.
Right.
And that's awesome.
Right, and I think it's important to highlight that being a model, it's like you say model, somebody's like ooh, but they have a certain frame of mind of what the model is to them. But being that you are a plus size model, even though model first and then plus size after, but I think it's important to highlight that because plus size is something that's kind of been new over the past 10 years. That's really come into the field and taking off on its own a little bit. And I would, you're kind of like at the beginning of that wave. I mean, you're kind of in the class with some of the bigger plus size models that we have now, right? So, like, how do you feel like inspiring the next generation of models that are thicker, curvier women?
I think overall, I'm not big on labels, so right. I'm like model plus model, whatever. But I think it's about the inclusion, and it's about people feeling that they can be a part of something exactly the way that they are and not necessarily needing to stop eating and fit into a certain size category, but there being a category for everybody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We're seeing that, we have models that have just different disabilities now, and that's inspiring a whole new wave of models in that area. And at the end of the day, who doesn't want to see themselves in an ad or,
that's true.
When
I
they walk
definitely wanted to be
store.
a model. Paul, you have model aspirations?
Yeah.
Can me and Paul still be models, or is it too late for us at this point?
It all depends on who you're working with and who you find. Everybody's looking for a different look, so I don't know. It's all about inclusion.
What did you want to model? I wanted to model boxer briefs. Like the Calvin Klein. When I'm in Calvin Klein's, I feel so fucking sexy.
Really?
Yeah, man. You ever had Calvin Klein boxer briefs? You should get one.
I have one pair.
All right, you should get another one. You probably worn that out.
Agreed. Oh, I was about to say, okay, get you like 4 or 5 more.
Get you like 4 or 5. Get a rotation going, Paul, and you're gonna see how you feel. Like, woman can't tell you shit when you in Calvin Klein's. Okay, when you in Hanes. Hanes are cool boxer brief. Hanes is cool, but when you in Fruit of the Loom is even worse. If it's Fruit of the Loom, you trash, nigga. Like she not even gonna. What's worse than Fruit of the Looms? I guess what were the ones that like had the Batman and Spider-Man underwear? What were those?
Oh well, hey, those are the good ones. I still look for those at Walmart and Target.
Do you own any superhero underwear?
I do. I love them.
What do you have?
Well, Batman first because I totally had a thing for Batman from Immature growing up, and so everything Batman.
That's Marcus Houston for those who don't know.
Ow, shout out. And then
I want to get into that too. So. Is all right. So Summer is also, like I think that both of us that we vibe on is that we love R&B, specifically like 80s, 90s, 2000s, even like R&B. We just like that. We love that genre, right? That we play a lot in the house, listen to a lot of it in the car, or watch old videos on YouTube, whatever like that. And Immature is like your all-time favorite R&B group. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Right. And how old were you when you first heard Immature?
I was probably like 5.
5. Okay. You were 5 and you just knew it when you saw them on the TV.
My older stepsister used to be a fan as well. And so it was kind of like around. And yeah, like that was the beginning of a very dedicated journey.
Now, let me ask you something. Now, this is to prove how much of a fan you are. How many times have you seen Immature perform in your lifetime?
I don't think that I could count.
What?
What I can say is that I followed them very closely. And if I knew about a performance that was going to be anywhere near Los Angeles area,
right.
The likelihood was that I was going to be there. So
have you seen them in another city?
No,
you haven't.
I really had to think about that.
Right.
No, because growing up, I was a kid. I was growing up, so I could only go where my mom was going to drop me off. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. So can we like run down some of the venues? Because sometimes like, I'm big on the performances, and sometimes depending on the venue, the setting, it's a different kind of a show because they don't have the same production, the stage.
Yeah.
So where are some of the venues that you remember where they had like their dopest concerts?
I've seen them at the Wilton.
Okay, where's that?
Theater. In Hollywood.
Okay.
I've seen them perform at the amphitheater in Irvine.
Okay.
Summer jams. Oh, summer jams used to be so amazing. I've seen them perform at all kind of at the Western Forum. At my own Keenan show.
Right.
Like I've literally like.
Yeah, I mean, with me.
Celebrity basketball games.
So, okay. So, like, I've never seen anybody more than once. Because I've only really been to a handful of, probably 5 concerts in my life. It's got to be around 5 to 7, So, and I'm a huge fan of a lot of acts, but, like, I haven't even... that's probably one of the things I wish I would have done more was and go to the live concerts and experience the live concert. I think there's nothing like it. And like, we've missed some concerts over the past year. And since I've been out here, man, there's like concerts like all the time. Like in New York, I just wasn't in the mind frame of going to see shows because I was just doing stand up a lot. And out here, you kind of have more free time, and there's just always more like events of performance because the weather, it benefits in the weather. So there's not just when your group comes to the New York City and does the Garden or the Radio City or King's Theater in Brooklyn or somewhere. Like here, it's just like there's like 8 different places where you might find them. Yeah, you know what I mean, depending on the show or like the bill that they're on. Paul, you ever seen anybody more than once that you like? Who you a fan of?
Yeah, I just went, and this is old school, but I just saw Tower of Power again.
Tower of Power, what was it? Who's that?
They're like old school, like soul music from Oakland.
Soul music from Oakland,
yeah,
okay.
Soul and funk and stuff, but they've been around for 50 years.
Wow, how'd you get into those? Into that?
I was a musician.
Oh, really? Yeah. What'd you play?
I played all brass instruments.
Play brass? Okay. That's what's up. So you're very into like bands.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're like super solid. So I saw them in War like 2 days ago.
Oh, nice. How they hold up? Still good?
Yeah. In fact, the lead singer of War.
Yeah.
Jumped off the stage and jumped over the fence and was like dancing with the crowd and stuff. He got back on stage. Full 70 years old.
Fuck.
And he was like river dancing.
Crowd surfing and shit.
Yo.
I don't know.
I can't even do that. He's 70.
Lonnie Jordan. Shout outs to Lonnie. Shit. Damn. Yeah. A crowd surf, man. Would you ever crowd surf if you had people like present to you in crowd surf?
No.
No.
I'm not fond of the idea of
I would crowd surf.
Putting all of that trust into other people's ability to lift me and hold me.
Right.
And I mean, like,
it's okay.
Maybe if it was like a trusted crowd of people that I knew, maybe.
A trusted crowd of 40.
You know what I'm saying? People that I knew that I felt were very strong. You know what I'm saying?
Wrists.
You lift with your legs, all of that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So you're a big fan of Immature. So, what are the likelihood that the fans will get a reunion album and maybe another tour going? Is that ever going to happen? Are they ever going to get back together and record some new music?
I mean, I'm always hopeful.
Do you have inside sources?
I don't think I have inside sources necessarily.
Okay, sorry, Immature fans. I was trying to.
But I mean, I did see them recently at the 90 Experience, which was a couple of years ago at the Nokia Center, which was amazing.
Right.
To see them
there?
in action. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for front row VIP. But backstage, that's how I do it. But anyways, it was for old time's sakes. It was for old time's sakes, had to keep it in the rotation. But anyways, they still got it. So, the vocals are there. They're able to move around and dance still and
nobody
put on
got
a
fat
show.
and like horrible.
Yeah, no. I think they're in great shape. And probably in regards of their mentality and just maturity, I know it's immature, but in their personal lives, I think there's been so much growth. So
did they go back to Immature, or are they still gonna be IMX?
The last that I saw, it was Immature Official on.
So they went back to Immature. I think that was a smart move.
Yeah.
I think it works better than Mature. You think they'll change it to Mature, or no? That won't work if they do that. Because if we're gonna be optimistic that they'll, maybe get back together every few years and tour, when they're getting into the 40s and 50s, do they still want to be immature?
Yeah, no, I don't think.
I always thought about that with group names.
No, I think the name is the name. You know what I'm saying? Like, New Edition doesn't need to change their name because they're
now
not
they're older.
New anymore. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? They
Old
are
edition.
who they are, and it carries
regular
legacy.
edition. Nah, Regs edition. Yeah, I feel okay. So you had that. So we talked about how when performing on stage, you getting a rush, and how that translates with doing a runway. So you got that that energy, that good feeling, and you decided you wanted to get some more of that. So you went about it in a very professional manner. You got your stuff together to become an official model.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, people always ask me, oh, how do I become a model? Well, you got to do some research. You know, you got to figure it out. I did a lot of research. I talked to a lot of people. And yeah, I decided that if I was going to do it, I was going to do it for real. But I also had to find a purpose for it because I couldn't just be a pretty face,
right.
you know? So I was in school at the time.
Very pretty face.
Thank you, baby.
No problem, baby.
Okay, don't throw me off.
Sorry.
I was on a roll. So I was in school at the time, and so I kind of was like, well, how can I make this in alignment with what my passion is, which is helping people? And I recognized that it was going to provide a platform for me.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, at that point, I'm like, you know, that's true. I'm going across the country presenting my research to other psychologists that have the same access to the same resources that I do, when my research is telling me that this information needs to be out in the community. But the community doesn't care what the psychologist has to say. But then all of a sudden, as a model, I'm getting red carpet interviews and they're asking me about what I do. And once I say I'm in school or I'm getting my doctorate, people are like, what? Oh my gosh, tell me about that. You know, I'm getting offers to go to have, you know, do speaking engagements. I recently just spoke down at Cal State San Marcos, and I was a guest lecturer. And it's like, yo, I've been doing research and doing presentations for 6 years and never had an opportunity like that. But then it comes around because now more people know who I am. I have a bigger reach. People can actually seek me out and book me to come do things because they're interested in what I have to say.
Right. Now, and I think that's awesome. So let's kind of get into how your personal family dynamics kind of like plays a part into it. So obviously, you know, Wayans is you know, they're like the Jacksons of comedy.
Shout out to the fam.
Shout out to the fam. So you grew up around a bunch of funny, hilarious individuals. So how did that? Was it an easy decision for you to like that you knew that comedy isn't something that you wanted to pursue? Like I was determined to do something different, and you know what I mean? Because like, you know, most times I think in Black communities and in Latino communities, it's like we see our goal to being successful through entertainment. So it's like, I got to be an actor or I'm an athlete or whatever like that. And then, you know, you grew up in a family of comedians, and that's like rite of passage into other various forms of entertainment. So like, did it always feel like, even though you can be around the house and everybody can make you laugh, Damon, Marlon, whoever, but it's just like, that's their thing. Like there's something different that I want to do. There's a different path. Yeah,
I think I kind of ran away from entertainment altogether initially.
Right.
I feel like my experience growing up was kind of balanced out. You know, my dad's a Marine and has always worked, you know, blue collar jobs, you know,
right.
for the government and things along that nature. And then my mom, you know, at some point she's had 2 jobs, you know, she's worked as a paralegal, and you know, so I always saw them working hard to be able to pay the bills and to
right.
provide a good upbringing for us. And then on the other hand, I saw, you know, I would go on the weekends to my cousins' houses and see like, you know, the big houses and the luxury brands and this whole other kind of life. But I was always like, but what happens once I found out that actors have hiatuses? I was like, wait, so you don't get paid? Like you have to take a break and you're not going to get paid. So like what's going to happen
right.
in that time?
Right.
What do you mean you don't know if you got picked up for the next season? Like, so you mean this can be over now? Then what do you do?
Right.
And so I've always had that as a part of like, okay, no, I need to find some kind of stability. Like I've always craved that.
So you crave stability.
Yeah.
Where
like
you could say that the other members in the family, they don't worry about that. They just trust in their art and things are going to work out kind of in that sort of way.
Well, I think, you know,
without the job to fall back on, quote
I think
unquote.
They're a little of the exception. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's the small group of exceptions. And I feel like they definitely worry about stability. You know,
right.
My family is very big on making sure that there is going to be something left behind that they can provide for their kids, that they can provide for the rest of us, you know. So there's always that. There's always the next thing and how to get better and continue to grow. I never knew how to connect that with entertainment. And I feel like I'm in a good place now where I found multiple ways
This
to
is your thing,
connect.
my niche, my passion.
Yeah, it's like I found it finally. And it's the combination, you know,
Right.
it's having my doctorate and having the platform as an entertainment person to represent communities, to give information to communities, to be a part of communities and be invited and welcomed in.
Right. So recently you opened up your own private practice, which I think is a very big deal. So a lot of work goes into establishing that. Once you are kind of like certified, I got everything I need now. It's time to get this baby off the ground.
Yeah.
So like, what are the kind of clients that you deal with? Like, who are you seeing? What are the things that you experience as you've been trying to build up your practice off the ground?
Absolutely. So I'm in the process of getting licensed still. So I work with another colleague that is licensed already. And together we see a lot of different clients. Like I said, diversity is my,
Can you give
my
us some
thing.
specific examples?
So I work with clients that have addiction, substance abuse problems. I work with a range of different disorders such as schizophrenia, bipolar, depression, anxiety. I work with in a nonprofit part of the practice where I get to work with elderly individuals that have Alzheimer's and dementia. So it's really fun when you show up to work and you're like, hey, how are you, so-and-so? And they're like, who are you? But, I do a little bit of everything. My youngest client is 2 years old, almost 3.
Wow.
And as of now, my oldest client has been 87 years old. So I really, I learned different ways to connect with people where they are and to help them to get to where they want to be.
Okay. So like being somebody as a psychologist, you're hearing people's trials and tribulations, right?
Yeah.
How often do you take that home with you? Like, or how hard is it to get like to decompress and
unwind? It's something that is something you have to be aware of.
Okay.
It's tough sometimes. You are sometimes listening to the most traumatic experiences of a person, and a part of you is empathetic to that, and you're compassionate and you want to make it better, but sometimes you know that you can't. And all you can do is support them where they're at. And so, I do my own therapy. I sure do. I go to therapy. I love it.
Wow, so you're a therapist that does therapy.
Of course. Yeah. I believe in what I do as a profession. So, I think we have been raised in a society where it's kind of like, we want to know who is doing what and how to do this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, we should be taking care of our mental health the same way that we take care of our physical health.
Okay.
It's not something that society has instilled in us, but it's important. And if we did, we probably would be in so much of a better place as a whole, as a society. So yeah, I go to therapy. That's where I work things out. I, can bounce perspectives off of my therapist. I can not be a therapist myself. I can take that therapist.
Are you
hat
comfortable sharing anything that you take to your therapist, or?
Oh, I take all kinds of stuff to my therapist. Relationship stuff.
Relationship stuff.
I bring in there my anxieties when I'm feeling like super depressed about something. Like I know I could be sad about this, but why is this sadness lasting so long? I have anxiety really bad sometimes, and so the idea of doing a red carpet sometimes can be overwhelming for me because I know that there's going to be a lot of people, there's going to be a lot of attention on me. And while I have this amazing personality and it's so big and wonderful, inside I'm like, oh my God, can I just shrink into the background and stay into a wall? And I know that people sometimes judge that. They're like, oh, well, she's a bitch, or, she's entitled, or, she doesn't like to interact with us. And it's like, no, I'm kind of freaking out here and trying to hold my shit together.
Wow. I had no idea. So do your family, friends, do they like respect what you do? They seek out you? Have they tried to like recommend therapists so that they can kind of like work on mental health? I think in the Black community, there's still a big issue that needs to be addressed where, and there's a shift changing about a lot of us seeking therapy and getting help with our issues instead of holding things within and carrying resentment because when you grow up in the hood or in black communities, it's kind of like seen as weakness if you talk about your problems and keep that. You have to just keep that with you and not tell anybody or whatever because you don't want to ask for help, but you feel like you're supposed to have an attitude of I don't need nobody for nothing or whatever. So like, you're a part of that changing.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure you might have family members that feel like they can't talk to people about their stuff or whatever. So like, or your friends, what do you do when you kind of like, see that happening?
There's definitely a stigma in our communities about mental health. I'm not crazy. What am I going to therapist for? And it's like, well, you're going to go to the therapist so you don't become crazy. But really, I think the best thing that I'm doing is I'm showing people that I'm doing it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just
you're
that. You're
practicing what you preach.
I'm not just getting paid to do it, but I'm paying somebody money, in order to make sure that my health is taken care of. I'm big on wellness, inside and out, So it's one of those things that I talk to people about. When people ask me, like, wait, you go to therapy? Yeah, I go to therapy. And I'm open to talk about it because I believe it's important. And I think a part of the issue is all of this secrecy of we don't talk to people about our problems. It's built into our culture. We don't talk to people about our problems. We handle things internally within our system, but a part of our system should include our doctors, our therapists, the people that are going to help us to be well and continue on to do the things that we do.
If you could give an educated opinion, how much should a person go see a therapist?
I think that really depends on the person. I think that effective therapy happens most of the time if you're actually working through something.
Right.
Twice a month. Go check in with somebody.
Twice a month? Okay. How much therapy would you recommend for me?
Twice a month,
I'd be fine at too?
Yeah.
All right. How about Paul, even though you just met Paul? How much therapy do you think he needs?
Well,
Does he look
based on
happy
the
together?
interaction that we're having earlier. No, I'm just kidding.
She's a big energy girl, so she like reads energy.
Yeah, no, his energy seems good. And, he's from Phillips Ranch. So that's in my neck of the woods that I grew up in. So, we're perfect out there. There's no problems out there. I'm totally being facetious. But, I do. I think people should check in regularly.
Okay.
The same way that you would check in with a doctor when you're starting not to feel well or it's been a while since you've checked in.
Right.
Do the same thing for your mental health. Something big happens in your life and you're not quite sure how to handle it or get through it, or, you're transitioning and trying to adjust to something. You have these goals, but you're not sure why you're not quite meeting them. There's all types of ways to utilize therapy. And what I tell my clients is that therapy is what you need it to be and what you make it.
Right.
So,
okay, so being that, you have a huge workload as a doctor, it takes a very time-consuming business, and then you model when you can. In the past, how have you been able to juggle the relationships, like, in your life, your personal, your significant others, like, because that's not easy, I'm sure.
Yeah.
How was that for you?
A lot of scheduling and a lot of color coding my calendar, and really you make time for what's important to you.
Yeah.
So I feel like I flourish when I'm doing a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
When I have too much time, I don't want to do anything. I'm just like, no, I'll just sleep right now. I'll just sit.
Yeah,
with
you're
my
a big
dog.
sleeper. You're a big chiller.
Yeah, I love to just chill and be home.
She is Netflix and chill. Like,
for sure.
yeah,
For sure.
You've made me like Netflix and chill more than I've been ever in my life. And I'm like, I'm doing a little bit too much chilling.
Yeah, but see, it's
I
fun
like
to
it.
go
I do
out.
like it, but yeah.
What I've learned is that at some point in my life, I needed to always be going and be out, and I couldn't sit still. So I've practiced over time being contained within myself. So literally, I don't need to turn on the TV. I don't need my phone. I can really just sit and chill. And chill with my dog, or, look through my calendar, read a book, paint my nails. There's all sorts of things to do when you're self-contained that we get away from because we're so focused on the next thing or how to get involved.
What's popping tonight?
Or what's popping tonight.
All right. He speaks so well. Like, popping tonight.
Yo, son.
There you go. Wait, how come she always wants to do like New York swag than LA swag? I don't never get you get into your Cali bag. Like you do kind of get into your you know.
What is a Cali bag?
Your LA shit, like your cuz, your whatever, like, you know, West Sun, you know.
Oh, like you want me to like gangbang?
Yeah. When you get into your gang, you dated a gangbanger, right?
Huh?
So he rubbed some gangbanger friends, right?
I mean, there's been a lot of experiences that I've had over the years that have allowed me to see a lot of different communities.
Right.
And also to figure out how much of a square I am. Okay. Like, I would always be like, yo, I'm super ratchet, you know?
Yeah.
People are like, Summer.
Summer.
There's no part of you that's ratchet. I'm like, okay, well, how about conservatively ratchet?
So you're fighting for the conservative ratchet group.
Yeah, you know? Like, I feel like I should be able to enunciate my words.
Right.
And then still twerk. And then, talk with people in different communities, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, son?
I'm sure there are some conservative ratchets out there. Like, there's an audience.
There is.
I think if you're a conservative ratchet and you're looking for somebody to follow and to support, I mean, I would say Summer Wayans could be your persons. So, yeah. Conservative ratchet. I like that one.
I like it too.
Yeah.
You guys hear that? I coined it though.
You coined it. You can take credit for that. I'm definitely not conservative ratchet. I'm trying to, Paul, what would you think? What would you say you are?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm a podcast producer.
Whatever. Podcast producer.
Okay.
You ain't got nothing today? Paul, you watching porn? You've been really focused on your laptop, man. On 2 laptops. You like watching multiple videos?
My internet browser shows that I'm single.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Paul's single, guys. Ladies, get at Paul. He got Dodgers ticket hookups. And Power Tower. He's a big Power Tower fan. He could play Tower Power. Sorry, he could.
And
50-year-old
ladies, he has dimples.
Paul does have some dimples on both sides, I might add.
Yeah. Just FYI.
And he's got a nice beard. He got a nice beard. I think you got a nice beard, Paul's.
Yeah. I'm a sucker for beards and dimples.
So what's next for you?
Right now, I'm really trying to focus on bringing everything together.
Okay.
For a long time, I've been kind of compartmentalized with focusing on school and then focusing on my practice and then focusing on modeling and then focusing on speaking engagements. And I'm trying to kind of bring it all together. So I've been on this journey for like the last year called Fit My Way. That's what I like to call it because
talk more about that Fit My Way.
I'm getting fit my way.
Okay.
It's not about weight loss. It's not about meeting anyone else's standards. It's about myself feeling good inside and out and really just living a healthier lifestyle.
Right. But do you back that lifestyle up? Because a lot of people can run away with that Fit My Way and then think that they're eating at Jack in the Box every day. But then because I walk to Jack in the Box instead of driving, I'm getting Fit My Way. You know what I'm saying?
Well, everyone's way is going to be different. So, for instance, I will never put myself in that category. Well, let's not say never. I don't like the idea of ever being in a category where I feel like I have to diet, right? Or I can't have something because I shouldn't eat that. I don't like to do that because that's not realistic. What's realistic is being aware and knowing, right? So the first step for me was learning about what is good and what is not so good and what those not so good things do for you. So I try to make healthy choices most of the time.
Okay.
And then when I want to have pizza or, whatever, Roscoe's, I'll have it and I'm not going to feel bad about it. But at the same time, I know what I'm eating and what I'm putting into my body. So I might drink a little bit more water that day. I might take a couple extra walks with my dog. I might do some of those things or I might not.
All right.
But it's being aware. It's trying to make it a realistic lifestyle for me so that as I continue on my journey, I can continue to do well. When I go meet with my doctor, she's like, well, whatever you're doing, keep it going because your, cholesterol's good, no risk of diabetes, blood pressure's normal. All of those things that as an African-American woman with a family history of these things is at risk for, I'm not. So.
Very well said. Summer, I want to thank you for talking about what you do, bringing it to the culture, doing it For the Culture. So tell the people where they can find you. How can they follow you and keep up with everything that you have going on?
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
And everyone can find me. You can Google Summer Wayans and all my stuff comes up, but summerwayans.com is my website. Subscribe to the guest list on there, and I send out different newsletters, and you find out about things before they actually happen. My Instagram and Facebook and Twitter are all at Summer Wayans. That's summer like the season. Wayans is Wayans. And on YouTube, it's Summer Wayans TV. That's where they can find Fit My Way and the videos that I've posted with different workouts.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Follow me.
All right. Well, this has been another episode of For the Culture. My name is Nick Alexander. We'll talk to you another time. Peace.